Hi, this is Vanessa with Designs by Vanessa. Thank you so much for joining me for my very first crochet along. So for my first crochet along, we're making this chunky X slouch beanie. And I will be demonstrating how to work the beanie all the way from the bottom of the brim. So the brim is worked first, and then we will complete the main portion of the beanie, and we are going to close off on the top. Okay, before I move along, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for future videos and give it a big thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So for the materials you will need for the yarn that we're going to use, I decided to go with a bulky weight. It's sort of a happy medium between worsted and super bulky. I'm not a huge fan of crocheted super bulky beanies, so I thought I would use a bulky weight. This is Lion Brand's Wool Ease Tono. We're going to be using two different colors. Again, this is bulky weight 5. Okay, that's what I used in this beanie here. And for your crochet hooks, you will need 2 different sizes. That's just a recommendation. You can use one hook size if you like. I'm using a 6.0 size J for the brim of the beanie. Now my pattern does say to use 5.5, and I did for the pattern that I worked up for the other beanie. So for this one I'm going to use the 6 because I felt like it was a little too tight. The good thing is you can change up your hook size if you want, because we are measuring as we go. And then for the larger size, I'm using a size K, 6.5 millimeters, and that is because that's the size hook that is recommended on the yarn label. Now these are Knitter's Pride's Dreams crochet hook. I have a whole set. Okay, so you will need a tapestry needle. This is actually for wool because it has a little loop here. These are also Knitter's Pride's needles. You can use any type of tapestry needle. Just make sure that the eye of your needle is large enough for your yarn. You'll need a pair of scissors, and you'll need a stitch marker to mark the beginning of your round. I am going to warn you beforehand that I always forget to place my stitch markers on the first stitch because I don't normally use these. They get in my way. I don't like them. But if you need, you can use it to mark the first stitch of your round. And you'll need a tape measure. As I mentioned, we are measuring as we go, so this beanie is very customizable, so it's great to make any size you like. Okay, so let's take a look at the beanie again. Okay, so this one I made fits my son, who is 5.5 years old. Okay, so the brim is worked flat, and it is worked back and forth this direction, okay, in short rows through the back loops, which creates these ribbing, okay, which makes it look like it's a ribbed brim. Okay, and then we're going to join it to form the band. So this is where I joined it, and I will show you the technique to make it almost seamless. Okay, and then that's when we will start working the main portion of the beanie, and then it is worked up until this point, and then this is all decreased, and then we close up the top. And I did not add a pom-pom to this one, but I will leave links if you want to. I think that would also look very nice. So you're going to decide what color to start with. Again, I'm going to start with this blue one here. So that will be for the brim, and then the X's will be the blue. And then the sort of peeking out color here is going to be orange for me. So I will refer to the first color as color A, which is the color you start on your brim, and then this will be color B, which is this portion here. Okay, so let's get started. I chained 9 for this one, and remember I used 5.5 for this one, and that gave me a brim that was about 2.5 inches. Okay, so the chain stitches that you're going to work is going to determine the height of your brim. Okay, so since I am using a slightly larger hook, I'm going to chain 8 stitches. So to chain, you want to yarn over and then pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, yarn over and pull through. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is going to be the height of my brim, minus 1 stitch, because that's your turning chain. Okay, so now you want to work a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. This is the first chain, that's the second chain. Okay, to work a half double crochet, you want to yarn over, insert your hook into that second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so the next stitch, work another half double crochet, and then work 1 half double crochet into every stitch across. Okay, so I have my 7 stitches now. We started with 8. The first one was a turning chain. Okay, so now we want to chain 1 and turn our work. That doesn't count as a stitch, so the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to start working in the back loops of the half double crochets. So this was your turning chain. That's the chain 1. So you will work into this stitch right here, and then you will enter through the back loop. Okay, this is the front loop. You want to work in the back loop. Okay, so first half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in the back loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over into the next back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, continue that all the way across. Try to maintain the same number of stitches. If you need to stop and count, it's better to do that at every row instead of having to rip your work out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's my 7th one there. Okay, so now you're just going to repeat row 2 by chaining 1, turning your work, and then working half double crochets across through the back loop. And you want to work row 2 until you get the length of the band that makes up the circumference that you need. Okay, so make sure that you also end on the same side as your tail. So you'll need an odd number of rows. Okay, so I think I'm happy with the size that I want. Grab my tape measure here. I'm going off screen here, but let's see. I'll show you this end at least. So right here is 23 inches. And I'm going to place one end on the 0 mark and stretch it. So now this is half double crochet ribbing, and it doesn't stretch as much as single crochet and slip stitches. So I'm just going to gently tug it and stretch it to where I feel is comfortable, thinking about where the hat will sit, where the brim will sit on your head. Okay, because you can stretch this, to the max, but most of the time you don't want to do that because it just won't look nice. So stretching it to the max will bring me all the way to 23, but I don't really want that. If I let go, it's about 19 inches, but I'm going to give it just a slight stretch, which comes up to be 21 inches, and I'm happy with that. So I'm making one that's going to fit my other son. So 21, and it has a little give, but I'm happy with that. Okay. Again, you want to end on the same side as your beginning tail, so I've ended on this side. Okay, so now let's seam up the brim. Fold your brim with the beginning of your brim in front of you and the end where you've completed on the bottom. You want to line up the two. Okay, so I have 7 stitches going across. I'm going to slip stitch across the 2 ends, okay, going through both ends. So I'm going to start with this side, so that's sort of your chain stitches right there. So the first stitch, I've inserted my hook right there, and then for the other side you want to go through the back loops. Okay, there's the V right there. You want to enter through the back loops, just like you were when you were making the brim. Pull it through both ends and then through the loop on your hook as well. So into the next stitch in the front side, and then on the other end you want to work in the back loop. Okay, just the back loop. Yarn over, pull through both of those, and then through the loop on your hook. Next stitch, and then through the back loops on the other side. Okay, so you're working a slip stitch through both ends to seam it together. Okay, these are my last 2 stitches. Last one. Flip your brim with the right side out, and that's your seam right there. It runs smoothly with the brim and looks almost seamless. Okay, so let's start the main portion of the beanie. Okay, so make sure you switch to the larger hook size. I'm switching to my 6.5. Okay, so now you want to work 1 single crochet all the way around the top of the brim to start. You are going to need stitches in multiples of 10. Now I have 29 rows of half double crochet brims, and so for every 2 rows you're going to get at least 3 stitches in. That will make it look nice and even, at least for my tension, that is. So that's what I would recommend. You know your tension, so you can, if you have your own way of working around, just make sure that it's in multiples of 10. For me, it's 29 rows, so half of that, because I'm going to count each two of these, because I know that two of these will work 3 single crochets, so that's about 14. So 14 times the 3 stitches is going to give me 42 single crochets around, and I think I'm going to round up, so I'm going to need 8 more stitches to get 50. Okay, so what I'm going to want to do is 42 divided by 8 will give me about 5, so I'll increase about every 5th stitch, and then I'll just keep track of my stitch count so that I can adjust when I get closer to the end. So you want to start with a chain 1. Okay, so work your first single crochet right into the same space, and then for the next 2 rows you want to work 3 single crochets. So work one up here, another one somewhere in the middle, and then a third one on this side. Let me show you where I like to work mine, but you can work into wherever you like. So for the very first one, I'm just going to work, insert my hook right through the top, and I like to make sure I go through more than one loop. I think it's more stable that way. And for the next one right here, right on top, there is 2 loops that you can work through. And then this is probably the tricky one that I got used to working. So I go under this strand here first. See this one? If you just work through that one, you're going to end up with a gap, a hole in your work. So what I like to do is insert my hook into this strand below, pick it up, and then go through that top strand so that I'm going through 2 loops. Then work my single crochet that way. So right above this row here, work my next single crochet, and then through these top 2 loops right here in the middle, the top of that middle part, work another single crochet, and then this sort of wonky one down here, go under this strand and then through the top loop. So that was my 5th single crochet. I'm just going to work an additional one right through the same stitch, okay, and then continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my 5th one I want to increase. So 1, and then back into the same stitch, work another. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Work 2 in the 5th stitch. And remember, this is just for my stitch count. I'm trying to reach 50 stitches because you need multiples of 10. Okay, so work your single crochet stitches all the way around, making sure you have multiples of 10 stitches. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning of my work. I'm going to slip stitch to this first stitch here to join. I have 50 stitches in multiples of 10, so I'm ready to join, and I'm going to want to set up for my next round, which is the other color. So I want to demonstrate how I change my colors. You can change colors however you like. So I'm going to insert my hook through the 2 loops of the first stitch, and then I'm going to grab color B, so my burnt orange, make a loop and then place it on my hook, and then I'm going to pull through and through. So I'm using the new color to slip stitch my round. Okay, and then I like to just tie a knot or 2, okay, just to secure it. So now I'm going to start using my color B, my burnt orange. So this is round 2. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to work 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches. So the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so we're going to work right into the same space, so the same stitch as the chain 1. Work your first single crochet and then 5 more for a total of 6 single crochets. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what we're going to do next is skip the next stitch. So in order to compensate for that, you want to chain 1. Okay, so then you want to work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So you skip this one, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet. Okay, so now we have this space here. We're going to skip another stitch, chain 1, and then work 6 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 6 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what we're doing here is creating a space. So these are the skipped stitches for later when you're working your double treble crochet stitches. Okay, so these skipped stitches here is where you'll work into later. Okay, so skip another stitch, chain 1, work into the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet in each of those stitches, skip another stitch, chain 1, and then 6 single crochets. And that's the repeat all the way around. Okay, skip 1, chain 1, 1 single crochet into the next 2, chain 1, then you skip another 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet in the next 2, chain 1, skip 1, and then 6 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now you want to chain 1 again, skip 1, and work the 2 single crochets, and this is going to be your last skip stitch. So you want to chain 1 and then work a slip stitch in the very first single crochet stitch. Okay, now we want to chain 2, and this does not count as a stitch. We're going to work 1 double crochet all the way around, including the chain 1 space. So this chain 1 space here, you'll just work stitches in there as well, so you don't skip the chain 1 spaces. So into the very first stitch, you want to work your double crochet, your first one, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull it through 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. So that's your first double crochet. I'll show you that one more time slowly. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, so work 1 double crochet in every stitch around, including the chain 1 space. So let me get over here where the chain 1 space is. So this is your chain 1 space right here where you skipped. You want to just yarn over and go right into that space and work your double crochet. Okay, and then double crochet into the next 2, and then you have another chain 1 space. Go ahead and just work right into the space, and then continue with 1 double crochet in every stitch around. Don't forget to work your double crochet into the chain 1 space as well. So I'm at the end. This is the last chain 1 space. Don't forget to work a double crochet into that last chain 1 space. Now I'm going to join to the first double crochet. This is your chain 2. This is your first double crochet. You want to insert your hook through both loops, and now we want to switch to color A. So for me, that's the blue. Yarn over and pull through and through. Tug on the color B to tighten. So now we're ready for round 4. Okay, to start round 4, you're going to chain 1. So you're going to work 6 single crochets first. So 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches, starting with the first one here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now here are the 2 skip stitches from 3 rounds below. That's the first skip stitch, and that's the second skip stitch. What you want to do is work into the second skip stitch first. Okay, to work the double treble, you want to yarn over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so right here is your second skip stitch. That's your first. Right into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, now you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 at a time. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and lastly yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so this very next stitch here, because this is where you stopped, you want to skip this stitch, and then skip this stitch and then work single crochets in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, now you want to go back to the first skip stitch down here 3 rounds below and work another double treble going this direction, creating the X. So wrap your yarn around your hook 3 times. Okay, right into this stitch here where we skipped. Okay, right in there. Okay, so now you want to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 at a time, and you're going to do that 4 times. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then the last one, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so now you've worked your X stitch, and every time you work an X stitch, you're going to skip 1, and then we have 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we're going to repeat what we did earlier. Okay, so double treble, wrap your yarn around 3 times. This is the first skip stitch here. That's the second. You want to cross it over to the second. Insert your hook into the stitch that we skipped down here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 4 times. So that's 2, 3, and 4. Skip the next stitch, work 1 single crochet into the next 2. Another double treble into the first skip stitch, wrap your yarn 3 times, insert your hook into the first skip stitch down here, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 4 times. That's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we have our second X stitch, so skip a stitch and then repeat 6 single crochets, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our X stitch is next into these skip stitches down here. Wrap your yarn 3 times into the second skip stitch, so the one on the far left. Pull up a loop and pull yarn over and pull through 2 4 times. Okay, skip 1 single crochet in the next 2, and then 1 double treble in the first skip stitch. 1 2 3 into the skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we want to do that 4 times. Skip a stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and work your X stitch again. Wrap your yarn 3 times into the second skip stitch, work your double treble, skip a stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 2, 1 double treble into the first skip stitch. Okay, I'm almost at the end. Skip a stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is my last set. Work your double treble, wrap your yarn 3 times, second skip stitch down here, work your double treble. Okay, skip 1 stitch, work 1 single crochet into the next 2, wrap your yarn 3 times, work your second treble into the first skip stitch down here, 2, 3, and 4, and we're skipping the very last stitch, and we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round to join. Okay. Okay, round 5, same color, chain 1 into the same stitch, work your first single crochet. Now work 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So I did tell you guys that I was probably going to forget to use my stitch marker. And I did. So when you start your first stitch of the round, you can place your marker there just so you know where to slip stitch if you need that assistance. Again, I don't use it because it's just an extra step for me to take on and off, and it's really annoying for me. I apologize, I forgot to mention that way down here in the beginning. I'm at the end of my round 5. I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch here to join, and I'm changing colors, so I'm going to grab the color B, my orange color, and I'm going to slip stitch with that color. Okay, so now for round 6 I'm going to chain 1 single crochet right into the first stitch, and then we're going to skip the next stitch, chain 1, work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work 6 single crochets, so 1 into the next, each of the next 6 stitches. Okay, so what we're doing here is now we're working these skip stitches in between these 2 X stitches here. So we're going to have our X's staggered. Okay, so we're setting it up a little differently for when we're ready to work the X stitches, the cross stitches, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. So I just worked the 6 single crochets. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet into the next 2, chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, 6, not 5. Chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet into the next 2, chain 1, skip 1, and then work your 1 single crochet in the next 6. Chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet in the next 2, chain 1, skip 1, 1 single crochet in the next 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, just repeat that all the way around. Okay, you should end with 5. So after you chain 1 and skip, you should have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we started with 1 single crochet here. So that would be your total of 6, if that makes sense. Again, I forgot my stitch marker, so slip stitch into the first stitch. Okay. Now we're ready for round 7. Chain 2 does not count as a stitch. We're going to work 1 double crochet into that very first stitch, and then you're working a double crochet into the next. So this is the chain 1 space. Okay, so just like round 3, you want to work 1 double crochet into every stitch around, including the chain 1 space. Okay, so I am back around to the beginning. This is your chain 2. There's your first double crochet. You want to slip stitch into the first double crochet stitch, and we're going to be switching colors again. So grab your color B, or A, sorry, the blue color for me, and work your slip stitch with the new color yarn. Okay, so now we're ready for round 8. Okay, to start round 8, you want to chain 1, and then you're going to work 1 single crochet in the very first stitch, which is the same as your chain 1. And now we're going to work a double treble into the second skip stitch from 3 rounds below. So yarn over 3 times, and into the second skip stitch, work a double treble. Okay, skip 1, work 1 single crochet in the next 2. Forgot my marker again. So this is the very first single crochet that I worked, so that's where I'm going to slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to work a double treble into the first skip stitch over here, wrapping your yarn 3 times into the skip stitch down here. Work your double treble. Okay, skip 1, and then 6 stitches. You want to work your single crochet in the next 6 stitches. So that's 4, 5, 6. So this is similar to your round 4, except we're starting with the X stitch right away. Okay, so now we're going to work a double treble in this second skip stitch over here. Wrap your yarn 3 times into the skip stitch and work your double treble. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip 1, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then a double treble into the first skip stitch over here. Skip 1, 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so repeat that all the way around. Okay, so you should end with 5 single crochets. There's my 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch to the first single crochet. If you use a stitch marker, that's where you will slip stitch. Okay, so that's round 8. Round 9, we are still using the same color, and this is going to be the last round for your round repeats. So for round 9, you're just working 1 single crochet around, so chain 1, and then work 1 single crochet all the way around. Mark the first one if you need. Okay, I'm at the end of round 9, and I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet where my stitch marker is, and I'm going to slip stitch with the other color because you're going to start all over on round 2, which is color B, which is the orange one for me. Okay, so you slip stitch with the new color, and then you're going to repeat rounds 2 through 9 until you reach about 2 inches taller than the height that you want on the chart that's in the pattern. And you want to measure from the bottom of the brim to where you end your work. So I stopped at about 9.5 inches, which gave me about 11 inches total. I'm going to probably do the same for this one. Okay, so it looks like I'd worked 2 more, I just did 1 more repeat in order to get the height that I want. Just remember that the width of your brim will affect the height as well. So just measure about 2 to 3 inches over the desired height. Okay? So go ahead and repeat rounds 2 through 9, ending after round 4 or round 8. Okay, so I repeated another 2 rounds of the X rounds. So this was 2 through 8. So I stopped at 8, and my beanie measures 9.5 inches from the bottom of the brim to the top where I stopped my work. Okay, so right there, 9.5 inches. So I'm going to now start my decrease. Again, remember you want to end after round 4 or 8. So I'm actually at the end of my round 8. I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. Okay, I'm going to cut my orange color because I'm not going to use it anymore, and leave a long enough tail so that you can weave in your ends. Okay, so now we're ready to start decrease rounds. Okay, so for round 1 of decrease, and I'm going to finish off with this color. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to work 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches right there. Okay, starting with the first 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to single crochet 2 together. It's a decrease stitch. So what you want to do is work a single crochet in these 2 stitches. So to do that, you want to insert your hook as if you're working a single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you don't want to complete the single crochet. You want to then insert your hook into the very next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Okay, and what you've done is combine these 2 stitches into 1. So the repeat all the way around is 1 single crochet in 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet 2 together, 3 crochets, or 1 in the next 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet these 2 together. So insert your hook, pull up a loop to the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 3. 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Okay, repeat that all the way around. Okay, so I'm at my last 2 stitches, which is 2 single crochet 2 together, and then now you can choose to join your round following the pattern, or you can choose to work in a continuous round. If you do work in a continuous round, you definitely need your marker to mark your first stitch. So to do that, you would start round 2 of my decrease and just skip the chaining 1 and the slip stitching to the first stitch step. So if you insert your hook as if to slip stitch, but instead you work your first single crochet and then place your marker there. So this is an alternative to what I have in the pattern, and the reason why I leave it the way it is in the pattern is because I personally feel like it's easier to follow as far as instructions, but I like working in a continuous round without joining. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the video tutorial. Okay, so that was my first single crochet, and on round 2 of the pattern, it's after chaining, which we're not doing here, is to single crochet in 2 stitches and then single crochet 2 together. So that was the first single crochet. Now I'm going to work the second single crochet, and then the next 2 stitches will be my single crochet 2 together. Okay, my decrease stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 single crochet each in each stitch. Okay, so the next 2 is single crochet 2 together, and then the next 2 you want to work 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, repeat that all the way around. Okay, I'm at the end of decrease round 2. I'm ready to work the last stitch, which is single crochet 2 together in these last 2 stitches. And again, if you are joining, just slip stitch to the first stitch, but I'm not, so I'm going to start round 3 into the very next stitch right here, which is where we marked our first single crochet of round 2. So for round 3, we're skipping the chain 1 instructions because we're not working a slip stitch to join. You're going to work your first single crochet right into that stitch for a continuous round. Okay, then you want to place your stitch marker there to mark your first stitch. So for round 3, it's 1 single crochet 2 together. That's the repeat. So since I worked my first single crochet right there, my next stitch is single crochet 2 together. Okay, 1 single crochet 2 together. So repeat that all the way around. Okay, I'm at the end of round 3 decrease. I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to work my single crochet 2 together. And then now for the last round, so this was the first stitch of the round. I just removed the stitch marker. If you're joining, then go ahead and slip stitch to join and then chain 1. So for the last round, I'm just going to go right into the first stitch to work my single crochet 2 together and the second stitch. So that was the first, that's the second stitch. Okay, I'll place my marker there for the first stitch. So now you're just going to work decreases all the way around, working single crochet 2 together all the way around. Okay, so there's my last stitch, or last 2 stitches. Work my last single crochet 2 together, and now that I'm done, I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch to join. Okay, I'll cut my yarn, leaving a tail for weaving. Move my stitch marker. Okay, so pull your loop through, and then grab your needle or whatever you're using, and what you're going to do is just go through the remaining stitches, kind of even as in a zigzag. Okay, so in this one, out this one, in this one, out this one, in here, out here, and I think that's the beginning. So I'm just going to pull this tight to cinch it up. Okay, I'm going to weave it in on the inside. Okay, so this is how I secure it. I just run it through a stitch or 2, it's up to you, and grab your yarn, wrap it around twice, and then just hold on to it right there and tighten it, so that sort of ties it, secures it. And you can weave in your ends if you like. I'm just gonna cut this off. So this is what the seam portion looks like in the inside, because we're just carrying our yarn up as we work without fastening off. So I'm just going to weave in any remaining ends I have. Okay, since this is orange, you probably want to weave it in the same color so that it doesn't show up if you're weaving in the contrasting color. Okay. I'm going to secure this one by doing the wraparound again. And then just weave in my ends. Okay. So this is the finished X beanie, slouch beanie. Okay, so it's pretty much the same size as the first one that I made. Okay, thank you so much for watching and joining me for my first crochet along project. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe for future videos.